Hey, do I look like a club bouncer with this hat and shirt on? Anyway, welcome back to the channel. The main event here. We're going to be going over the Paradox Pokemon. We're going to be tearing them. I want to go over some things really quickly to start. One, I don't really think any of the Paradox Pokemon are bad Pokemon at all. So this tier list is just more so like relative to each other, what I've seen them do on the Showdown ladder, how they've played for me and against me, and some tournament success that they already may have had. If you see the tier list itself, I was going over some stuff before the video. You see that I have like S, A+, B+, because there are some small differences between a few of them, and I wanted to make that known, as well as have some respect, I guess, for some Pokemon that may not be as high or as low as you may think they would be. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first Pokemon on the list that I have here is Iron Jugulis. I'm actually going to do the first two, Iron Jugulis and Sandy Shock. I'm going to put them in B+. That is out of like respect for the fact that they are both Pokemon that were able to top four the Beanie Brawl, which is like the biggest Series 2 tournament we've had so far. As you can see, the Iron Jugulis here is top 3 team, and the Sandy Shock is also on that same top 3 team. And the team is rounded up pretty nicely, so I'll actually show you guys the moves that they ran and what I may have been missing with them. So Sandy Shock's in an Assault Vest set, Terra Fairy, Volt Switch, Earth Power, Thunderbolt, Terra Blast, Assault Vest. Now, I never would have thought to run it like that, to be honest. I think it's a good call. Volt Switch is good for pivoting, obviously. Also, like electric and ground coverage as a duality is actually pretty nice into a lot of things. Like ground is weak to like water, but electricity covers that really well. Also, Terra Fairy and Assault Vest makes you pretty good defensively. Terra Blast is good into like a lot of Pokemon. It's neutral to most. It hits the Dragon types, hits Roaring Moon, etc. So I'm gonna give it B tier because it had like this really good success. Iron Jugulis, I think this was more like a bulky supporter set. Tailwind, Snarl, Air Slash Flinches, Terra Electric for defense. Pretty good stuff. I don't think they're gonna be like blowing people's minds or anything like that, but I'm gonna give them both the B+ nod for now. This one hasn't really shown me anything too difficult. Hasn't really had any success in that tournament. When I've played against it, it hasn't felt that rough to be around. I am putting it in B because it's so close to something like an Amoonguss. It's hard to put it any lower than that. It does everything Amoonguss does, just in a different way. But if you look at like the where's the standings? Let's go back to the standings of like this tournament here. And this is not a tournament review video either. I actually have that with Moxie on his channel coming soon, so look out for that. But like most players right now are still, if you can see this, are slotting to go with Amoonguss, and I think the reason for that is one, Amoonguss gets regenerated so it can stay healthy, and two, it's the poison typing, which helps you to resist those fairy type moves as opposed to the dark, which makes you weak to them. I think that is a big deal right now, is why people are kind of opting to go with the Amoonguss over the Brute Bonnet. Iron Thorns hasn't really done much yet. I haven't really played any of the ladder, but I just know that it's solid. If you go down, like just look at its like stats really quickly. Yeah, it's 100 HP, 134 attack, 110 defense. Really good on the physical side. Special defense not bad either. So it's bulky, it can hit hard. Rock Electric leaves a lot to be desired defensively because you're weak to like fighting, 4 times weak to ground. You're weak to water, you're weak to grass. You're neutral to steel, but electric would normally resist steel. So I can understand why it's not seeing a lot of play, but I think it'll pick up a little bit. So I'll put it in B for now. So this may be the first controversial one. I'm going to put this is out of pure respect, I'm going to put it in A+. Fluttermane has not been as overwhelming as people thought it would be. On the ladder, it hasn't felt that hard to play against compared to what we thought it would be. It's still a very good Pokemon, don't get me wrong, which is why I'm putting A+ versus like just A. Even if you look at like this tournament, like they said, these tournament results, there is no Fluttermane in the top 8 teams at all. So voiceover main here, that was a mistake. There was 1 in 6th place. There is 1 in top 8. I knew that. I don't know why I made that mistake. Even in Moxie's video, we emphasized that there is 1 in top 8, that it didn't dominate the top 8 or dominate the tournament. That was the idea. So back to the video. A really good Pokemon, as you can see, like 15th place is nothing to sneeze at, or 14th place or 12th place. That's nothing to sneeze at. 10th place. Those are really great standings. So the Pokemon is really good. Do not get me wrong, but it placed worse than like Pokemon that are better than it. Then it's better than like Draculus and Shocks. Now you could say that's maybe just the players, but if even those better players are opting to go for other Paradox, then you know that might tell you something. So I think it's A plus out of respect. I really want to put it in A, but just so you guys don't kill me too bad, I'm putting A plus. The next controversial pick, I'm actually putting this one in S. This one is actually amazing. For me personally, it has been the hardest Paradox to play against. It is just like so bulky. I want to show you guys the bulk on it. The 154 HP stat is really high. The defense stat is really good, and then the special defense leaves a lot to be desired. But most people have been playing it just like a Sylvest, and it makes it feels like it's really unkillable sometimes. It's weak to ground. Let me see what other weaknesses, and I'll show you guys. It's weak to ground, which is like not great, but not that many ground types in the format right now. Psychic spam is not really a thing right now that much, even though I think it's going to make a resurgence, which is his other weakness. And it is weak to fairy, but most of the time it just like tears out anyway. If you do like Terra Steel this thing, you keep the ground weakness and then you just pick up all these other resistances anyway. And I'll actually give you an example of that. If you look at the championship team, Hobbits, this person ran Assault Vest, like I was just saying, so the special defense was not that big of an issue, and they Terra Steel to get rid of those weaknesses. So now it's a big physical tank with the steel typing, and it resists everything except like fire, ground, and fighting. But like even right now, there's not a lot of fire coverage in the format. There's not that much ground coverage in the format. There is fighting coverage, but you can deal with that well enough. So Iron Hands is phenomenal. Like fake out, drain punch to get its health back, close combat, wild charge. This one runs heavy slam, which is actually really good call in my opinion. It's a really good Pokemon. It's a phenomenal Pokemon. It probably like in most 1v1 situations will beat Fluttermane because Fluttermane can't take hits from it, but it can take hits from Fluttermane with the vest. It can Terra into something like Steel or whatever to resist. There's nothing Fluttermane can Terra into to escape Iron Hands. There's nothing that it can do in that situation. And once the Terra goes, it'll just get wild charged anyway. It can still get wild charge right now. If it turns to Terra Fire, it'll get wild charge, it'll get drain punch, it'll get close combated, and all those moves will probably just knock it out. Another controversial pick. No, actually no, because I'm not gonna put that. I'm actually gonna put this in A. I want to put this in S really bad. I want to put it in S really bad because in another video that's dropping on Moxie's channel, we were using that Pokemon, and even before that, I thought it was going to be phenomenal anyway, because it gets so many good moves and it's so bulky and so fast. Like I've never seen a Pokemon, I don't think, ever have like this weird stat combination where it's so incredibly fast, but also so incredibly lucky. Like 111 speed is incredible, 115 special defense is incredible, 99 defense is really good, 115 HP is really good. Like it's so fast and so bulky, it doesn't really do damage, but like who cares? This thing does like Scary Face, Thunder Wave, Screens, Helping Hand, Trick Room. Like it does whatever it needs you to do on that team. It will find a role for you. And I really want to put it higher, but it hasn't really seen that much usage yet, so I'm trying to be fair in that aspect, but I want to put it much higher. And I think by the end of the season or whatever, it will be much higher. Bundle, the other winner from that tournament, is definitely S tier because it just goes well into just about every single Paradox except maybe Iron Hands, which is why another reason why it's S tier. Because it has the ability, it's faster than Fluttermane. Fluttermane is 135 base, and Iron Bundle is 136. So a lot of the times, what's holding Fluttermane back is Iron Bundles because they are getting not freeze dried. They're getting icy winded, and it's lowering their speed, and they're letting the partner Pokemon pick it off. And that's really bad for it. This thing also gets like freeze dry, so like water types that would normally wall you out get blown away. The dragon types or the flying types like Jugglers get blown away. The grass types get blown away. The rock types get blown away. The ground types get blown away. So you see how like Iron Bundle is good into everything just about on the list so far. It smokes most of these Pokemon. Iron Hands would do better into it because you can make it bulky to survive a hit, and then you can probably wild charge it back and just knock it out because Iron Hands is a beast like that. But yeah, so Iron Bundle definitely deserves its status as S tier. As you can see, it is on the. It's not only on the. It's not only on the championship team here, but it's also on 2 of the top 3 teams. So it had a really good success. It's also a 3rd one right here in top 8 in 7th place. Yeah, so then there's another one in 10th place. So yeah, this thing just it's gonna be winning tournaments as long as it's available to be played. This one I'm gonna put in B. The reason I put it, actually I'm gonna do this at the same time. The reason I'm putting that one in B is because it's just worse Great Tusk. Great Tusk is just so much better. I'm not a big fan of ground steel typing as a dual typing. It sounds really strong, but if you look at it, and I'll even show it to you guys so you can see it visually, because steel would normally have a ton of resistances, right? But those resistances, some of those actually get mitigated because of the ground typing. So for example, you would normally take neutral from water, but you take super effective from water because of the ground typing, and you already can't hit water back with your steel typing because it resists you. You keep your fighting weakness. You can hit ground types. Ground types can hit fire types, which is nice. But you're still weak to fire because of the steel typing. This is the big one, the ice. This is the one I want to talk about. The ice typing here, which would normally be I want to say resisted by you, you actually take neutral damage. And the ice damage is really strong because there's stuff like Excalibur. So stuff that you would normally resist with the steel typing becomes a neutral damage, and ice is a big one in my opinion. Grass is another one where it's like you would normally resist grass, but now grass is neutral into you. I just don't like the typing defensively that much. And not to mention, if you look at his stat pool, it's good, right? It's it's kind of fast. Oh, where did it go? Here it goes. It's fast, 106. Great defense stat even. Decent HP stat. I do think the special defense leaves a little bit to be desired, even though it's better than Great Tusk special defense by a little bit, because the HP is so much lower. It makes the special defense a lot worse, in my opinion. And you could put an assault vest on this thing, but you still have the low-ish HP stat. 90 is not low, it's good, but the special defense leaves, like I said, leaves a little bit to be desired. And you could invest in it, but because its attack is a little bit lower too, then you might miss out on some KOs because of the attack of these, or maybe you sacrifice some speed. But you have to make a sacrifice with this Pokemon somewhere, as opposed to something like Great Tusk. I'll show you. I'll bring it up for you guys, just because I wanted you guys to be able to see it visually as I'm talking about it. So this special defense is putrid, right? But if you invest in your special defense here, if you invest in your special defense, let's say you take something away from your attack stat. Your attack stat is already so high at 131. You can afford to lose some attack EVs to bolster up your special defense. Your defense stat your actual regular defense stat is so high, and your HP is so high that if you, from between these first 3 stats, if you do not want to invest in them and invest into your special defense, that's fine. That is a way you can run this thing. You can sacrifice speed because you can just make it bulky and take hits, or you can just make it really fast. It's the way its stats work out just allows for more versatility in your spreads than the other one does. It'll just always just naturally hit harder because they're both physical attackers. It's way bulkier on the defensive physical side. And then ground fighting even, yeah, you're weak to fairy, but most fairy types can't take a ground type headlong rush from you. And as you can see, you're still weak to ice and grass, but that's what your ground type is going to do most of the time anyway. Psychic type is not that prevalent. You can teach your thing rock slide to take a hit, and because most of the types you're weak to, flying, most types you're weak to flying, grass, stuff like that right now. I don't think there's a lot of special attackers on that side of it. Right now the best flying type is probably Roaring Moon, which is not a flying type, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But it's a physical attacker, so you can probably eat the hit. Not that much psychic spam. I've been running Great Tusk, and fairy damage has not been that big of a deal to me because of the way I'm running it. so I can deal with that, especially when the fairy damage is spread, because then it mitigates that some even more. Because like I said, you can invest in your special defense, you can Terra, you can do a lot of things. That's another thing, right? If you Terra your Great Tusk into something else with better resistances, your defense and HP stat becomes so much more valuable. So I think overall it's just so much better than Iron Treads, which is unfortunate because Iron Treads is really cool. Another controversial-ish pick is I'm going to put Roaring Moon in A tier. Roaring Moon, I'm putting it there because one, it won the tournament. Two, its moves and stats are phenomenal. It hasn't felt as oppressive as I thought it may have been on the ladder so far. Even like using it and playing against it, it feels like a really good Pokemon. It feels like a great Pokemon even, but it doesn't feel like Zacian, right? Like Zacian feels like the perfect Pokemon. This doesn't feel anything near that. As you can see, it did win the first tournament alongside Iron Hands and Iron Bundle, but outside of that, I don't think it really had much success. So like Salamence is in number 5 instead of Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon does place another again in the top 8, which is good, better than Fluttermane did, right? Because it has 2 in the top 8. But as you can see, like a lot of people are opting out of it. I think maybe because they were afraid of Fluttermane. But as you can see, like both of those Pokemon didn't have the success we thought they would overall, like deep success, but it did win, like which kind of gives it a slight edge. This person, actually, I want to show you guys what they were running to. It's actually really cool. So when I was saying like it's the best flying type, so this person was running Acrobatics, Flying, Booster Energy. So you just use your Booster Energy turn 1, get rid of your item, and you Terra Flying Acrobatics, and you do like a billion damage. It's actually really creative, really cool. As far as Moxie was telling me that it's actually a pretty standard set, which is nice, but I think it's really good. Tailwind Protect for more speed, so it's probably speed boosting photosynthesis. So yeah, this thing is actually really awesome. It's just not as good as Iron Bundle because flying seems to be its best type right now. Bundle just blows it up. Bundle also slows it down. So that's why Bundle is in the S tier above it. This thing I'm gonna put it in B. It's basically Buzzwole. It's pretty cool. Really cool design. Not any objectively worse than these to put it in C tier. Probably not as better than these ones though, so I'm gonna put it in B. B is fine. Valiant hasn't really done anything yet, but I respect its move pool and its stat distribution enough to put it in A. Where is it? Yeah, like 116 speed, 130 attack, 120 special attack. Great speed, great offenses. 90 defense is cool. 74 HP is not a lot, and 60, but like it gets such great moves like Wide Guard, Trick Room, Shadow Sneak, Spirit Break, Moon Blast, Aura Sphere, Post Combat. I'm not sure if it gets Sacred Sword. I gotta check that, but it gets so much good coverage, and its offenses are so powerful. I respect enough to put it in the A tier. I'd probably run it like a Focus Sash, not looking at its defenses and just looking at how things are developing. That might be a good play for it, because you're not going to survive in here, so you might as well just go fully offensive, try to get damage off, try to get a couple hits off before it goes down. Iron Moth, also A tier. It's stat. So the thing with this, right now I'm looking at this, it really makes me want to put the Jigglypuff higher. I think it's a little bit better than the Pokemon after it, but for now we'll leave it where it's at, out of respect for these two behemoths. But like Iron Moth has great stats, actual phenomenal stats. 110 speed, 140 special attack. I think, is that the highest? Okay, so Iron Hands has a 140 attack. I'll say, is that the highest attacking stat we've had so far? But it's tied with Iron Hands. It's much faster. Really good special defense. The defenses leave a lot to be desired. And the HP leaves a lot to be desired in conjunction with the special defense. I mean, with the defense, especially because you're like 4 times weak to ground. And yes, you could tear out of that, but you're probably going to tear into something else that physically needs the physical bulk. But the special defense is great, right? Because Fire Poison is like quad resist to Fairy, I believe. Let's open it and look. Quad resist to Fairy. Yeah, so you see how it says 0.25? That means it does 1/4 the damage it normally would. It resists Steel and it resists Fairy, which is actually really good. Resist Fighting, resist Ice 4 times. Quad resist Grass, which is great too. So I think what holds it back is like its move pool a little bit. It gets really good moves, don't get me wrong, but like Volcarona gets like Quiver Dance, which this thing doesn't get, And I don't think it gets Rage Powder, which Volcarona does, which is why you'll probably see like Volcarona is in 6th place here. People are still opting to go with Volcarona a little bit, but it did come in 8th place. Joe did use it on his 8th place team, so I think it's a phenomenal mon. Deserves to be up here. I think Moth and Screamtail will both have good chances to move up. We're just going where they are for now, and I'm not going to rank the legends because they haven't even been made legal yet. So this is what I got so far. And yes, the A's, the A plus is the A's, the B plus is the B's. I don't think any of these Pokemon are bad. They're all good Pokemon. They're just, like I said, in comparison to each other, this is kind of where they stack up right now. Things might change in the future. We'll see what Orlando Regional has to say about this. Let me know if you guys agree with the tiering in the comments. Let me know if you disagree with the tiering in the comments. Let me know which Paradox has been the most fun for you to play if you've played any, which has been the hardest for you to play against if you've played any. And let me know if you'd like to see more of these tier lists in the future. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.